You make more money now than you've ever made in your entire life. More than your first job. More than you made 3 years ago. Probably more than your parents made at your age when you adjust for the math. And yet somehow, right now, today, you feel just as broke as you did when you were earning half this much. Maybe even more broke. That doesn't make any sense on paper. More money coming in should mean more money available, more breathing room, more comfort, more security. But that's not what happened. What happened is that your income went up and your stress about money stayed exactly the same or got worse. And you can't figure out why because you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing. You have a decent job, you pay your bills, you're not blowing money on anything crazy. So, where is this constant feeling of financial pressure coming from? Here's the uncomfortable answer: it's coming from your brain, not your bank account. Your brain. And until you understand the specific psychological mechanisms that create this feeling, no raise, no budget, no side hustle will fix it. You'll just keep earning more and feeling the same, trapped in a cycle that has nothing to do with math and everything to do with how your mind processes money. Today, I'm going to expose the exact psychological forces that make you feel broke, regardless of your income. These aren't vague theories about mindset or manifestation. These are documented cognitive biases and neurological patterns that are actively distorting your perception of your own financial reality right now, as you watch this. The first force is called hedonic adaptation, and it is the single biggest reason why more money never feels like enough. Hedonic adaptation is your brain's tendency to return to a baseline level of satisfaction regardless of positive changes in your circumstances. When you get a raise, you feel good for approximately 2 to 4 weeks. Then your brain recalibrates. The new salary becomes your new normal. The excitement fades completely, and you feel exactly the same as before the raise. This isn't a character flaw, it's an evolutionary feature. Your brain is designed to normalize positive changes quickly so that you remain motivated to keep pursuing more. If a raise made you permanently happy, you'd stop striving. From an evolutionary perspective, permanent satisfaction is dangerous. Your brain would rather keep you slightly dissatisfied and constantly pushing forward than content and complacent. But in a modern financial context, this wiring is devastating because it means you can double your income and feel no lasting improvement in financial satisfaction. The person earning $45,000 who gets promoted to $65,000 feels excited for a month, then returns to the same baseline. The person earning $65,000 who jumps to $90,000 feels great for a few weeks, then returns to the same baseline. The baseline never moves. Only the spending does, because each time your brain normalizes the new income, your spending expands to match it. Not intentionally, not irresponsibly, almost invisibly. The apartment gets slightly nicer, the groceries get slightly more premium, the clothes get slightly more expensive, the restaurants get slightly more upscale. No single upgrade feels significant, but collectively they consume every additional dollar, returning you to the same financial pressure you felt at the lower income. This is why people earning $150,000 report the same financial stress as people earning $55,000. Their brains adapted to each increase and their spending followed their adaptation. They don't feel richer because their brain won't let them. The second force is social comparison, and it's the reason you feel broke even when objective data says you're doing fine. Your brain doesn't evaluate your financial position in absolute terms. It evaluates it relative to the people around you. This is called relative deprivation, and it's hardwired into human psychology. You don't feel rich or poor based on your actual net worth. You feel rich or poor based on how your net worth compares to the people you see regularly. This mechanism was manageable when humans lived in small communities of 50 to 150 people. Your comparison group was your village. A few people had more than you, most had about the same, and your brain could accurately assess your relative position. But social media destroyed the system entirely. Your comparison group is no longer your village, it's the entire internet. You're comparing your financial reality to the curated highlights of millions of people, most of whom are either lying about their wealth, financing a lifestyle they can't afford, or genuinely in the top 1% of earners. Instagram shows you luxury vacations funded by credit card debt. TikTok shows you 24-year-olds claiming to make $30,000 per month with a dropshipping business that doesn't actually exist. YouTube shows you people half your age buying homes and cars that make your life look small by comparison. Your brain processes all of this as genuine social data. It doesn't filter for accuracy, it doesn't adjust for deception, it simply absorbs the input and concludes that you're falling behind, that everyone else has figured it out except you, that your salary, which is objectively above the median, is somehow not enough because everyone on your feed seems to have more. Research from the University of Pennsylvania found that people who spend more than 30 minutes per day on social media report significantly lower financial satisfaction than those who don't, regardless of actual income levels. Your phone is literally making you feel poorer every time you open it, not because it costs too much, because it shows you a distorted reality that your brain treats as truth. The third force is negativity bias, and it's why your brain ignores financial wins and obsesses over financial losses. Your brain processes negative financial information with roughly twice the emotional intensity of positive financial information. A $500 unexpected bill feels roughly twice as painful as a $500 bonus feels good. This isn't symmetrical processing, it's heavily weighted toward threats. This means even if your financial life is going well overall, your brain is disproportionately focused on the negative data points. You got a raise last month, but your brain is fixated on the car repair from this month. Your savings are growing steadily, but your brain is obsessing over the credit card balance that isn't shrinking fast enough. You successfully stayed within budget for 3 weeks, but your brain is screaming about the one weekend you overspent. Your brain literally keeps a highlight reel of financial pain and barely acknowledges financial progress. This creates a persistent feeling that you're losing the money game, even when objective evidence shows you're winning. Every unexpected expense gets emotionally amplified. Every financial setback feels like proof that you'll never get ahead. Every slow month erases the memory of 3 good months. The scoreboard in your brain is rigged to show a losing record, no matter how well you're actually playing. The fourth force is the paradox of choice, and it's something nobody connects to feeling broke, but it's deeply relevant. In 2026, there are more ways to spend money than at any point in human history. Subscription services, same-day delivery, one-click purchasing, buy now, pay later, targeted advertising that knows what you want before you do. Every single day, you are making more financial decisions than your grandparents made in a month. Each decision creates what psychologists call decision fatigue. Your brain has a limited daily capacity for making choices. Every spending decision, no matter how small, depletes that capacity. By the end of the day, your ability to make intentional financial choices is literally exhausted. This is why you make your worst financial decisions at night, why you impulse buy things at 11 p.m. that you would never buy at 8 a.m., why subscription services deliberately make cancellation difficult. They know that if the process requires even modest effort, your decision-fatigued brain will choose the path of least resistance, which is continuing to pay. But the paradox of choice affects your feeling of being broke in an even subtler way. The more options you see, the more you feel you're missing out on. Every product you don't buy, every experience you can't afford, every luxury you pass on creates a tiny feeling of deprivation. Your grandparents didn't feel deprived because they didn't know about 90% of what existed. You know about everything. Every product, every destination, every lifestyle is visible to you at all times through your phone. And each one you can't access reinforces the feeling that you don't have enough. The fifth force is what psychologists call the arrival fallacy, and it's the most heartbreaking one on this list. The arrival fallacy is the belief that once you reach a certain financial milestone, you'll finally feel secure, comfortable, and happy. When I make $60,000, I'll feel stable. When I save $10,000, I'll feel safe. When I pay off my debt, I'll finally breathe. But then you arrive, and the feeling you expected isn't there, or it lasts for a few days and disappears. So you set a new milestone. When I make $80,000, when I save $30,000, when I buy a house. You keep arriving, and the destination keeps moving because the feeling of being broke was never about the number, it was about the psychology. And the psychology follows you to every milestone because you bring your brain with you wherever you go. Studies on lottery winners confirm this pattern with devastating clarity. Researchers found that lottery winners reported the same level of life satisfaction as non-winners just 18 months after their windfall. People who received millions of dollars and had every financial problem objectively solved returned to their baseline happiness within a year and a half. If millions of dollars can't permanently fix the feeling of financial dissatisfaction, what makes you think your next raise will? So, what do you actually do about all of this? How do you stop feeling broke when your brain is wired to keep you feeling that way regardless of your income? The first intervention is creating a financial scoreboard that your brain can't distort. Track your net worth monthly. Write it down. Compare it to the previous month. Not to your neighbor, not to social media. To yourself 30 days ago. Your brain distorts relative comparisons to other people. It cannot distort objective comparison to your own past. When you see your net worth increase from $8,200 to $8,900 in a month, your brain registers progress, real, measurable, undeniable progress. That progress slowly overrides the vague feeling that you're falling behind because you now have concrete evidence that you're moving forward. The second intervention is curating your comparison environment ruthlessly. Unfollow every account that makes you feel financially inadequate. Everyone. I don't care if it's a friend, a celebrity, or a finance influencer who makes you feel like your savings rate is pathetic. If consuming their content makes you feel poorer, they are a psychological liability and they need to go. Replace them with content that educates rather than intimidates, with communities of people at similar financial stages who celebrate small wins rather than flaunt large ones. The third intervention is practicing intentional gratitude for financial progress. This sounds soft, but the neuroscience is hard. Gratitude literally changes brain chemistry. Specifically, it increases serotonin and dopamine production, which directly counteracts the negativity bias that makes your brain ignore financial wins. Every night, write down one financial win from that day. It can be microscopic. I packed lunch instead of buying it. I said no to an impulse purchase. I added $50 to my savings. These tiny acknowledgments rewire your brain to start noticing positive financial data instead of exclusively amplifying negative data. The fourth intervention is defining your enough number and comparing your life to that standard instead of comparing it to other people's lives. What does your ideal ordinary day look like? Not a vacation day, not a fantasy day, an ordinary Tuesday. What does it cost to live that day? That's your enough number. For most people, when they actually calculate it honestly, they discover they're much closer to enough than they thought. Some realize they've already passed it and are spending the excess on things that don't actually improve their daily experience. Your brain is running software that was designed for a world that no longer exists, a world without social media, without targeted advertising, without infinite consumer options, without constant visible displays of wealth from strangers. That software made sense 10,000 years ago. In 2026, it's making you feel broke on a salary that would have been considered wealthy by every previous generation's standards. You're not broken. Your brain is just running outdated programming in a modern environment. And the moment you understand that, the feeling of being broke starts losing its power. Not because your bank account changes, but because you finally see the feeling for what it actually is. A glitch, not a truth.